Hello, welcome to Arkpoint. My name is Marcus. 3 episodes in and we're getting rid of the intro. It saves me editing and it saves you time. So today, in part 1, we made the weapon art, which is good and all, but I prefer my weapons to fire. So we're going to make it function, and by the end of the tutorial, /guide, you'll have a weapon similar to this. Pretty cool stuff. So, we're going to take this art, we're going to take the advanced rifle that Core provides, and we're going to essentially customize it and make it our own. But first I'm going to show you the absolute basic Core weapon that is provided. So we're going to click on Core Content, going to scroll down to Gameplay Objects, and we're going to drag and drop this weapon into the scene. We can actually preview the game by pressing this play button up here, or we can press Shift equals to spawn the player character where the camera is. Voila! Okay, so we walked over the weapon, and we know it's equipped because we can see the crosshair. We're gonna press left mouse. Yeah! Good stuff. Bit bare bones, but it does work. So we're going to press escape, and we're going to add some settings so that we can actually damage things, or damage other players. So we're going to go to Settings Objects, drag and drop some team settings, and slap to free for all. We can simulate more than one player by pressing this button here, Multiplayer Preview Mode, and we're going to swap it to 2 players. That allows us to simulate being networked with other people. It's good for testing. Okay. And if I click enough times, it's going to die majestically. Desecrating. Now, as good as that weapon is, it's not quite the same as what we're looking for, so we're going to delete it and bring out the advanced weapon. I'm going to go for a rifle here, and right out of the bat, feels a lot better. I did edit the trail so that we can see it more. So yeah, I'm going to take a look at the properties available to us with this weapon, starting with the socket. So, holding this gun, it is in the right hand where the prop would be. We can change that by typing in something like the head. Only good things can come out of this. Do with that what you will. Yeah. So we're going to just reset that back to what it should be. The pickup trigger is the trigger that allows you to pick up the weapon. A lot of this is self-explanatory, and so Core comes with animations. You can see a lot of these by just pressing backspace, clearing the field, and you can see what is available by scrolling. There's not too much in terms of ranged weapons. A lot of it will either have to be the 2-hand rifle, or the 1-hand pistol. So we're going to just make that back to what it is. You can change reticle to none or having a crosshair. Weapon trajectory mode. So currently the muzzle, the bullet goes from muzzle to where you're looking. But we can change that to follow look vector, which makes it from where the camera is looking from to where you're looking. So it comes out of the camera instead of the gun. Custom allows you to manually point the gun barrel, essentially. So we can take a look where it's looking at by pressing V to toggle on gizmo visibility. And we're going to make it fire upwards. Perfect. It's very good at killing unsuspecting aliens. So the range how far it can shoot, damage, how much damage it does, multi-shot. So if we change it to 3, it's going to fire 3 rounds every time you click. Very good for shotguns. Burst count, it's going to do a burst of 30 when you fire. So that's how you do automatic weapons. We'll get back to that, but if you untoggle burst stops on release, it's just going to fire all 30 rounds, and that can be good for like a burst rifle or something. Shots per second, it only works on client preview in the editor. It doesn't work in the actual game when you've published it, so keep a note, this is practically useless. Yeah, we'll get back to how to actually edit the fire rate. But for now, we're going to keep moving on to muzzle position. This edits the position of the muzzle. Fairly easy. So we're going to go to hit scan. So if it's a hit scan, it's going to not spawn a projectile, and it's going to do a raycast instead. So what that means, it's essentially comparing a ballistic weapon to a laser weapon. With hit scan, it's instant, and with a projectile, it's going to take time to get to the point. So if it's projectile, it's going to spawn a bullet, it's going to have a speed to it, it's going to have all these settings, whether it lasts for 10 seconds, if it has gravity applied to it. So essentially this edits the properties of the projectile, including its projectile capsule collision, the radius of it, the deceleration, if it bounces, so it can bounce before destroying itself, and the number of objects it pierces. So the fun part is the visual effects. The muzzle flash template, so it's the part that looks like it's firing out of the barrel. The trail template, so that follows the bullet. Beam template, gonna be honest, not entirely sure how that one works. Impact surface aligned, so that is essentially like a bullet hole that appears on the ground that you've shot at. Show a quick example. So this is bullet hole, that's the impact surface aligned. So what that means is that if it's a wedge, it will align itself to that surface, and yeah. So the impacts for the surface, the player, so if it hits another person, it's going to spawn blood, instead of, say, looking like it shot through concrete. And then the impact projectile aligned is just if it hits with anything. Generally, beam template and impact projectile aligned are just completely empty. So next is the ammo. That's the maximum ammo in the magazine. So like 45 for instance. And that's how we create automatic weapons. So just scrolling back up here to burst count. If we change it to 45, and we don't have we do want the burst to stop on release. So we have the burst count of 45, and we have the ammo count at 45. That's how you create automatic firing weapons. Well, that's one important thing. Make sure you don't edit things while in preview mode. It'll just revert back. So as you see, we typed in 45, but it's gone back to 30 rounds. So just be careful of editing while in preview mode, and make sure you don't. So you change it back to 45 ammo and 45 burst, which means we hold it down, and after firing 45 rounds, the burst is going to stop. We can change it to burst count of 5, so every 5 rounds we're going to have to click that button again. Yeah, so that's how the bursting works. So yeah, ammo type, that applies for finite ammo supply. So if you don't want them to have infinite ammo, you just tick it, and you can either have it at rounds or you can input your own, such as runs. So there's templates you can put in for out of ammo. When you try and fire the weapon, but it's out of ammunition, and for when you're reloading the weapon. The spread is essentially aiming. So this is the minimum amount of spread. 0 means it's going to hit right on target. The maximum spread means it's going to hit within that area. And the aperture, so I prepared a paint document for this. No, I did not, never mind. So essentially the bullet comes from this position, but if you increase the aperture, it can come from some area within this area, if that makes sense. So currently it comes from this point because it's at 0, but as you increase it, it can come from, like, say for instance here, or here. Yeah, essentially it increases the surface area of where the bullet can come from. Generally it's not that easy to see, but if you change it to a ridiculous number like 9,999, it is a bit more visible. So, there's also the decrease speed. That does something. The spread increase. So, as you fire more rounds, the spread is going to increase, so it becomes more inaccurate. And then the spread penalty is just a multiplier on top of that. So for instance, you fire, it's on target. You fire again, it's at 0.5. You fire again, it's 0.5 plus 1. So that just makes the accuracy worse and worse. Whoops. Yeah, and then we have the abilities. So how core does keyboard inputs generally is through the abilities, which are underneath the weapon. Here. And all abilities have several phases. They have the casting, right? That is the time before an ability. The execution, how long that ability lasts for. The recovery, the phase after executing. And then cooldown, the time before it can do it all again. That's how you change the fire rate. That affects it in the preview of the editor and the published game. It's got all these things. They're like, can you move while doing it? Can you jump, rotate? Does it prevent other abilities from happening, etc.? And then we have the action binding. The explanation for all of these is in the core API. Yep, not going to go through 67 explanations. The animation that is played while casting the ability, whether it's enabled, whether it can be prevented, so like interrupting the ability, and while you can activate it while dead. This used to be ticked on, so you could actually fire weapons while you're dead. Doesn't make too much sense. So yeah, that's how they tend to get inputs in core, using this ability system. So you can do that to shoot, you can do that to reload. Yep, and it plugs into here, just so that the weapon knows what it's doing. Yeah. Now these custom properties, they come with the advanced assault weapons. They don't come with the normal absolute basic weapon that we showed that had nothing in it. So that's the base damage. That's the headshot damage when you shoot in the head. You can enable auto reload after the magazine is empty. And with these weapons you can aim with right click by holding it down. They've created their own ability for that, and their own animation to go with it. And then we have the different spreads and accuracies, precisions, when doing different things, such as walking, jumping, and crouching. They all have different accuracies. They've also added the pickup sound when you're picking up the weapon, low ammo sound, so that sounds off when your magazine is running low on ammo, and a reticle template, which you can also hide when it's being aimed. Okay, that was a lot to go through. We're going to start making it our own. So after pondering for a while, I decided to make a shotgun laser rifle of death, and recorded a while, and then realized, oh wait, it wasn't recording. So I'll just quickly show you what I did. So currently the weapon goes like this. Pretty cool stuff. So what I did is mention that there are already templates in the properties, and you can actually find them in your project content, My Templates. And yeah, so we're going to start with the muzzle. We're going to take it out, and we're going to de-instance it because you don't want to override the basic weapon muzzle flash. So we're going to make it our own. So by doing that, we're going to spice up the muzzle flash. We're going to change it, make it be more red. Going to slap that emissive boost to 50, even though we can type in our own number, epilepsy warning, and slap it like 9,999. Bam. Yep. So 50. Particle size, going to make that a crisp 1.436. And yeah, that should be good. By the way, it's a model, not a model, it's an effect. So under core content, effects, there's all this cool stuff. They tend to be good for firing, abilities, one-shot things, generally. So we're going to name that the laser rifle shotgun of death muzzle flash 2, because we already did it before, but yeah. Now you'll notice it also comes with the projectile, the firing sound already in here. We're going to delete that, add in our own more sci-fi sound. So under core content there's also audio, weapons, and we're going to look for firing, bam. And we're going to grab this laser rifle set, drag and drop that in. Now if you don't have apply effects, it's going to just sound the exact same all the time. And it's not going to take into account what you've done down here. So we're going to tick it. We're going to have autoplay enabled, and we're just going to use that sound. I'll cover audio in another video in the future. So we're going to create a new template. Bam. Plug that into the muzzle flash template. And then, if I'm not mistaken, it is going to fire upwards. Yep. Okay, so just what we got to do for that is, even though it's the same direction as the previous muzzle, we're just going to aim it downwards. And that's a fix. Cool. Another thing we did, we went to the generic trail. I already edited the generic trail, so yep, you usually don't want to. So I just changed the colors, made it red, slapped that emissive up to 50, and changed the particle size to 0.5. Yep, named it the Advanced Awesome Rifle. And I changed multi-shot to 3, so that it fires 3 shots around. But let's make that more. 15. What's the worst that could happen? So in regards to shots per second, it seems I may have been incorrect. You will want a number in here, so just so that it works. Yeah. Oh. Okay. So going to now change the impact surface aligned. Wherever that is. Oh, here it is. Bam. So you'll notice it actually uses a decal. Core has essentially stickers called decals. So whoop, you can see it's loading because it looks super duper pixely. There we go. Now if we press V, we can see it's applying that sticker into this box area. If we rotate it, you can see it's whoop. It's kind of weird. It's essentially a sticker. So yeah, we'll be applying stickers to the ground. This one is currently angled that direction instead of like straight up and down. So we're going to do the same. I'm going to de-instance this object. I'm going to take a look at that impact geo. It's got the sound for when it hits. Nice. It's got some sparks. And it's got the bullet decal. So we're gonna, since we have a laser weapon, we're gonna change it to something different. Something glowy, like a scorch mark. Ooh. Change that numbers to 0.5. Delete that. And that should work. We might make the sparks a bit more powerful. But other than that, it'll be fine. So it's not generic anymore. It's awesome. I'm going to create a new template out of that. Slap it into the weapon. I'm going to try it out. Hell yeah. So that's essentially how you make a weapon. You can have a lot of fun with this. Thank you for watching this video. If you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. I'll be pushing out a lot more tutorials, a lot more videos. Yeah, should be good stuff. But in the meantime, I shall catch you guys later. See you in the next video.